They can start working for me.
Oh yeah, they will wreak havoc in your life. All right, good morning, everyone. This is the first day, first week of Web Fundamentals. This is an exciting time. We are going to learn a lot of information, a lot of material within the next couple weeks, and then on the third week, we're still gonna have morning algorithms, but we're gonna have time to work on our personal projects. Hello, Keith, and welcome. We'll go ahead and explain this a bit more in detail, but let's go ahead and jump into the platform. If you don't have access to the platform, if you go to the top of the schedule here on this tab where it says platform, that will give you access to what I'm about to go through. Okay. And if you need a reminder, the link to Zoom is here on the calendar at the top left. Okay. And that's all I'll go over for now. Let's go to the platform and talk about what it's like here at the dojo. Okay, so most of you have already been introduced into the program, but I'll go over this anyway here. This is going to be a moderate stress curve, a stress level measure for the rest of your time here at the dojo. There's going to be several stacks or courses that we're calling them now that you'll be going through. This one is Web Fundamentals, obviously. And for the first day or so, it's going to be from a 6 to 7 stress level. As we go on to CSS and more JavaScript, it's going to get a little harder. And during the exam, we expect you to be fully exhausting yourself, your brain, your nerves, and then after that it's going to go down. You're going to work on your project, and then the process starts all over again. You start Python, it's going to be something new. It's not going to be so hard learning at first. You go up and down in stress levels until you get to the exam, and then until you get to project week. Now each stack is a little different from each other. As you can see here, Java is a little bit different than MERN and Python. There's a bit more of a learning curve, but by the time you get to Java, you will have gone through this process so many times, you'll be a little bit more used to it. Okay, so this is going to be the journey here for you at the dojo. Let's just enjoy it, okay? It's not always going to be like this, but when you do have a new job, it's going to be stressful at first, just like this, right? You're going to
Hey
be...
Josh,
Yes.
are
Hey,
we gonna get? Hey, sorry I'm late.
no worries.
Quick question: Are we gonna
Yes.
get a choice in MERN? Are we gonna get a choice to do Java or the .NET stack or C Sharp?
Yes, Java or C Sharp, I believe there's
Okay,
an option there. Yeah.
okay. I just
Yeah.
want to check shit. That was still a thing.
Yep, I believe so. I'll double check on that and let me get back to you on that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Um, all right. So I'm going to be going through these slides fast. Otherwise, I'm going to be pressing on time here for a while. So let's go ahead and do this as fast but efficiently as possible. Okay, so this is a new classroom learning model that has been developed for the dojo. We have education experts that work on these curriculums to try and make an efficient learning process. It's different than a university. It's different than you know, other schools that you might have attended already, high school or any other type of learning environment. Different than a trade school, I believe, but this is something where you're going to be learning a new trade in an industry that's currently hiring. So we want to give you the best information and test you on it, but also give it a lot of information in a small amount of time. Okay, so we'll be going over some learning techniques for you, some things to keep in mind. We are going to be using this platform for everything. This platform, this website is what I will be referring to often because there's so much information. You don't have to worry about remembering every single detail, but knowing where to look here on the platform if you do forget that detail. Remembering the lesson that the thing that you're trying to use was related to. So we'll be using this platform. We'll be completing practice assignments, excuse me, core assignments, and there's also going to be some optional assignments. So all these assignments will help you get ready for the test, pass the course, and make you a developer. Okay. And we're also going to be having several lectures a day. Okay. You're not supposed to rely just on my lectures. I will be covering most of the material on my lectures, but it's not all going to be about you learning from me speaking. I will be demonstrating something, and you should have read up to that point to have a familiarity with the material already as I'm explaining it, so that I fill any gaps of knowledge that you may have. Okay. So again, you're not required to know everything that we teach you the moment we teach you. Just know where to reference it here in the platform. Okay, so this is going to be your best friend. Get used to navigating through here. We'll also be referencing other sites, but you can bookmark those. But all that you need to pass this course, the tests, the material, the practice and core assignments, will be here in the platform. Okay, so let's see here. We're not going to be going over any videos during the lectures, so I'll skip this. Now, practice versus core assignments. All right. So what does it mean when I say practice and core? Well, core assignments you're going to have done in order to take the test. I believe there's 7 core assignments here for Web Fundamentals. All right. You need to have them all done in order to be eligible to take the test. We were a little bit lenient in programming basics. Okay, and we were told that that's okay to do. We weren't breaking any rules, but if you don't have the core assignments done for Web Fundamentals, you won't be able to take the test. Okay, and you'll have 3 opportunities to take the test, but you're going to want to complete the core assignments as soon as possible so that you get all 3 attempts, because the first attempt will be on a Wednesday, then a Thursday, then a Friday. If you pass the test the first time, you'll have access to the lectures on Thursday and Friday, and that will only make you a better web developer. Okay, but if you don't make that time, don't worry. Passing the test is the main goal anyway. So let's focus on getting our core assignments done. If you're feeling behind, skip the practice assignments. Okay, the practice assignments are going to help you, but don't worry about completing every single practice assignment leading up to the next core assignment. Okay, time yourself. We'll have a pace measure through the schedule. It's going to show you what your end of the day goals should be. So the next point here, that pretty much covers this whole entire page. Okay, you can watch this video on your own time. Now, course requirements. This is important. There's a couple principles here that we want you to be aware of. We want everyone to be present. That means being on time here. If you're not here the minute class starts, you're going to be late. Okay, and you have the option to be late within the first 10 minutes. If you're not here within the first 10 minutes, we will mark you as absent. So be here on time. There's no excuse. Just turn on your computer and just be ready when the class time starts. Okay, everything is on Mountain Time. If you don't know, here there's a measure on how to check your time zone versus Mountain Time. I'm in Central Time, so right now it is 10:27, so it is 9:27 Mountain Time. So use this as a guide here to measure what time you should be here. Okay. All right. Now let's continue. Be present, be humble. Okay. Also, actually, let me go over one more thing here, being present. Being present means participating in class. Okay. Don't just sit here silently. The more you participate, the more you help your cohort mates, the more you teach your cohort mates, the more you'll learn. Okay. And also you'll gain relationships that will benefit you in your job search, will benefit you in studying when you're looking for a job, and just having good friends for life. All right. I still keep my friends from the dojo. You know, you can't keep contacts with every single person, but you can help bolster your resumes, your profile on LinkedIn. And it's definitely a good thing to, I didn't expect to have such good friends from the dojo from my experience, but I do. So I hope the same for you all as well. So be humble. Okay, we'll all come to the dojo at different levels of experience. So those of you that are very experienced, and don't find the challenge that the new cohort mates have, still be humble and help them. Okay. Like we said, you'll build the relationships that you need. You don't know if the person that you're helping, that is behind you in skill level of experience, will have a growth spurt where they surpass you somehow. And that could happen. So always be humble, be willing to help one another. And even if you feel like you should be at a certain level of knowledge or experience, but you're not meeting your own expectations, be humble anyways, and just say, okay, I'm here to learn. I don't know everything. Sometimes things don't click. I may not be, this may not come to me as fast as I wish it would. Just be humble. All right. And then the other thing here is develop strength through struggle. That means sometimes you will be struggling. You may fail, but you have to just fail and get up quickly. All right. So don't pout. Remember, this is going to be extremely hard. It's called a boot camp for a reason. So that means you're gonna definitely be pushing yourself in ways you didn't know you would. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through some other rules here. Be respectful. Don't use explicit language. This is a business environment, so keep it professional. All right, never cheat on an assignment. You may do some pair programming for assignments. That's encouraged, but write your own code. Don't copy and paste from your neighbor. Just because your neighbor did it and you saw how they did it doesn't mean that you can just take that code and claim it as your own. Type all the code that you turn in yourself. Okay. And this is going to help you retain the information you're learning. And never cheat on exams, because then we'll expel you. Okay. If we find out you're cheating, that's a really bad academic, we'll just expel you. No questions asked. So, now, recommended that you'll be here for every lesson, every lecture, okay? But it really is 80% attendance. We know that life happens and there's some things that have to come up. You may have to miss class. That's all right. Make sure that you're making 80% of the attendance. So we'll be taking attendance 3 times a day. We'll look at our schedule. For example, today we're taking it at 9 a.m., at 10 a.m., and also at 2 p.m. So make all 3 attendance checks for every day of the week, and you'll be golden. Okay, you can calculate for yourself what 80% is out of 3 times, let's see, 15 days here. But it's not just this class you want to make attendance for. Your attendance also stacks up onto the other stacks as well, the other courses. So best just to make every single lecture. If you have any reason for not making it, your absence may not be excused depending on the reason. Contact your student experience manager. Contact me at the same time. Send us an email if there's ever an emergency or something that happens that gets in the way. If your power goes out at your house, text or text your student experience manager. Email them from your phone if you have internet access through your phone apart from your Wi-Fi. Try to get to a coffee shop, something. All right. I one time had to turn in a project for work. It was going to meet the deadline, but I had a power outage on our block here. I just ended up going to the local grocery store, going to the coffee shop area there, using their internet. It wasn't the most pleasant experience, maybe not the most secure either, but I had to get the job done, and I hope that you would too. Okay, so make this attendance that we're requiring, that we're asking, assignment completion, 95 to 100%. All right, you're going to need all your core assignments complete. It says 90% here, but in order to take the test, 90% means all the core assignments. Okay. Full-time programmers, you're going to require Web Fundamentals belt. So you're going to need this belt in order to go into the next course, the next stack. You're going to need a Python belt and one additional belt. That means a MERN or Java or another language belt. So you're going to need this to pass this course and 2 additional stacks. So let's do our best here to get the first requirement. Okay. And complete the non-belted stack. So you need a 90% assignment completion on the 3rd stack for the belt that you're not required to get. But it's, I mean, if you're going 90%, might as well go 100% and finish it. All right.
So just to clarify, does that mean there's a total of 4 stacks we're gonna have then?
Well, this is now they're changing the curriculum. So this web fundamentals is more like a stack now because there's going to be a project week. That wasn't there before. But a stack is like a full how do I say it? It's like
back end and database, right?
Yes. So this is just front end. This is just like an introductory to how a full stack would be. So you're going to use front end and all the other stacks as well. So this is going to be like a base requirement.
Okay, makes sense.
Good question. Thank you. All right. And you may be eligible for a maximum of 10% excused absences, which do not count against your 80% attendance requirement. Excused absences are based on circumstances beyond your control, such as an illness or death in a student's immediate family, illness or injury afflicting the student during an enrollment period, unavoidable change in students' conditions of employment, unavoidable geographical transfers, such as you have to relocate for some unforeseen reason, unanticipated difficulties with childcare arrangements that you would have made for the period during which you are attending class. Okay, so childcare and technological differences. Wi-Fi goes out, power goes out, but also try to find a way around it. You know, use your phone as a hotspot if you can use it for that one time. You know, it takes a lot of data, but, you know, try to make it, pay that extra little money so that you don't have to pay more money to get caught up in this course. Okay. In case I go out, in case my Wi-Fi goes out, or my power goes out, I'm going to use my data to connect. So for any reason I'm teaching here and I just disappear, know that I am doing my best to connect within the next few minutes and that I should be connected. If anything happens, I'll be able to at least get in contact through my phone here. And then I'll keep you guys updated. All right. Always through the Discord channel, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Okay. If you have any reasons or requests, contact support@codingdojo.com. Or if you have your student experience manager's email, that's a better way. Okay, but if you don't remember that off the top of your head, you can always contact support@codingdojo.com for one of these reasons. Okay, now let's go over exams. As I said, you need 90% of your core assignments completed. That means all of your core assignments in this course to unlock the test. Okay, and for a test, you need an 8 out of 10 or higher. So it's a pass or fail. Okay, so you just need an 8 out of 10 to pass. And we'll go over what that means when we get to the time of talking about tests. But it's pass or fail. If you don't meet the 8 out of 10, then you don't pass the score for passing grade. Okay, so we'll go over this more in detail, but if you want to see your catalog in the My Files section of your Learn platform. All right, so we'll go over what the exams require of us more towards the exam day. We already spoke about academic honesty, but let's go ahead and go over it again. This is a flashcard with some videos that you can test yourself so you know what academic honesty is. So I'm not going to play the videos here, but here's some examples here. It is okay to ask peers for help on assignments. That's fine. Reading on an online resource to get ideas for your bootcamp work. Online resources are great. Citing external sources you use in your work. You should do that always. All right. If it's just a little snippet of code that you needed to push your code over the edge to get it working, I wouldn't say you have to find the exact author of that specific thing. You know, sometimes it either works or it doesn't. There's only one way anyways. But there's oftentimes more than one way to do something. But try to always cite so that you can do that in the comments that will teach you how to leave in your HTML or CSS, whatever you're working on, JavaScript. Also, submitting your best effort on an assignment, then viewing the solutions file to learn more. So there's always going to be some solution to a problem. There's always going to be, or usually more than one way to solve a problem. But don't look for the solutions before you struggle with it yourself. Otherwise, you're not really learning. You're not really pushing yourself to be a good problem solver, because when you're on the job, you're not going to have a solutions file. You're not going to have some resource that gives you all the answers. You're going to be expected to be the one that has the answers. So that's going to be important for you to develop as a skill, and we'll work on that together. Okay, what's not okay is helping peers for help on exams. So you can't just, no, you can't do that at all. You can't ask for help on exams. The instructors or the TAs will be available to help you, but you can't ask each other. So don't join each other's rooms when it's time for to take an exam. Copying a whole assignment or a complete assignment, right? You can work together, but don't copy the code. Write it yourself, okay? Based on the understanding that you have with the person that you're working with or persons that you're working with. Function components, you copying function components from a peer or an online resource and representing someone else's work as your own. So don't say, hey, I came up with this idea when it wasn't really your idea. Say that you found it somewhere online. Say how you found it. That's better than saying, oh, I did this on my own. Okay.
Josh, I got a quick question.
Yes, Keaton.
If you guys are doing pair programming and
Mhm.
one person is leading and the other person is doing coding, is that still fall under this criteria? So say I'm leading and the other person's coding, I just have that person code for like a straight hour though, right? I still would have to write everything I told him to code even as I'm leading, or?
Right, yeah, because if we see it's going to look suspicious if you just get a copy of whatever that other person does. Try to write it as you for yourself as you see what they're writing. You know,
Okay.
if we see the same indentations, the same comments, everything is exactly the same, it just looks questionable.
Yeah.
And it just becomes harder to explain. Even if you did work together, I mean, it's going to be easier on everybody. It's going to be less suspicious. So good question. Yes, there's a fine line, and you have to use your own discernment. Pretend you're an instructor grading yourself to meet that requirement. Okay. And
Okay.
submitting a blank or unrelated assignment in order to view the solutions file. So we're going to require you to submit the core assignments, but if you submit something that's not related to the work, just to make that check mark appear that you've submitted it, we're going to find out. So don't submit some kind of unrelated code or image or whatever it is, what kind of file it is that we're asking, just to fill in that check mark, that blank. Okay, so go over these here. You can go over these cards if you're doubtful that you're meeting that academic honesty requirement. So go through these here and study for yourself what you think everything that you're doing is, if it's acceptable or not. Okay, what else here? Assignment rules cannot be the majority of an existing application or repo made by anyone other than yourself. So don't just rip off something on the internet, like, you know, a whole bunch of it. Use little code snippets to get yourself over the edge if you need it. Okay, but not the majority of it. Cannot be exact replica of what I did in a lecture. Okay, so if I work on an assignment during the lecture, and you know you have that access to the YouTube recording that I put on there, don't just copy me word for word. That's not going to be good. So do it yourself. You know, learn how I do it. And sometimes you have to write it how I may write it, right? If it's something you've never done before, but try to just understand it and then do it yourself, right? So there's a fine line. Try to find it and not cross it. All right. And code you can reference or take snippets from a code you've created. So you can take work that you've done previously. You can use your own work in another scenario, another situation or assignment. So use what you've learned. Okay. So it doesn't always stick the first time you do it. So you can reference stuff you've done before. That's okay. Code from the Learn platform. So any code that you find on here on the Learn platform, that's up for grabs. You can take that. Code created in class demos, right? We just went over that. Don't do it word for word, but you can take what I've done, the concept of what I've done, and take it for yourself. I encourage you to do that. Code present in official language documentation. So what other websites that have official documentation on this is how you should do this, take that. That's fine. If it's an official way to do it, then take it. Code present to help topics like Q&A sites, like Stack Overflow. So Stack Overflow is a place where it's like a forum where developers solve each other's answers. There's often code snippets there that's going to help you get whatever you're working on solved. And code found on GitHub. You can reference the code that you find on other people's GitHub, but don't just download it and adapt it and say it's yours. Okay, that's not good. So you can use GitHub, but don't abuse it. Now, collaboration with other students is allowed. So we do want you guys to collaborate with one another, and we'll go over what that means in detail, how and when to ask for help. But you can work with each other to get assignments done. It's not just a solo mission here that you're going to be on your own most of the time. You can work with each other, and we'll create breakout rooms where you can do that. Now, let's see. Exam rules. You cannot be the exam cannot be a majority of an existing application or repo made by anyone other than yourself. So you will be able to look up on the exam, reference the internet, reference your own previous work, but you can't take the majority of an existing application or repo made by someone else, okay? Other than yourself you can use. Cannot be an exact replica of an instructor or TA demo. So don't just rip off me again from a lecture or something. You can do that for an assignment and then take your own assignment, learn how I did it for the assignment, but don't spend your exam time learning how I did it. Must be your own new application, so must be your work. Majority of code must be your own. Referencing documentation / helping topics from the learning platform and relevant documentation is still okay. So you can take from the Learn platform for the test. It's fine. You can reference help topics or Q&A sites like Stack Overflow, past exams or past assignments. That's fine. So if you fail the exam and you need to retake it and you know that you did something on the previous exam that was right, you can reference your former exam. You cannot reference other Coding Dojo exams. So that is your exam that you're referencing. That's okay, but you cannot find some online reference to a Coding Dojo exam that's forbidden. And you cannot collaborate with others on the test. Okay. So this is we're using the honor system. This is your promise not to the Coding Dojo, but to yourself, that you will do your own best work so you can learn and grow during the boot camp. Otherwise, you're wasting your own money and time. Does anyone have any questions about this so far? No? Pretty self-explanatory. Now, surveys here. We're going to be asking a lot of surveys. There's going to be one mid-track survey, one final survey, and a student satisfaction survey that happens 2 to 3 times a week. If ever you're sharing your screen and the survey pops up, you can stop sharing your screen to get that out of the way. But I will be sending you 2 surveys, one during the middle of the stack and one towards the end. And Monday recap here. The purpose is a student the student feedback for the previous week and daily surveys and mid-track surveys, if applicable. And this covers things that we can change or adjust based on your feedback and things we won't change and why, things that we have by design. Okay, so the survey looks like this. This is a chapter survey. Fill it out on your own time if you would. Okay, so now we are here on our lesson plan for week 1, day 1. It is 10 minutes to the next hour. So let's take a look at our schedule here. At 10 Mountain Time, we're going to go over the platform, how to read it, Discord, Visual Studio Code, and then we're going to be going over HTML and how to build an HTML file. So we are just about at that time. So let me just glance over here and see if there's anything we need to do. Let's see here. Okay. Let's go over this in the next lecture. So we're about that time that we can stop here. And we will continue in 10 minutes. So I'll stop sharing now. I'll stop the recording. Actually, I'll put the share back up.